We are here live outside of the KSL broadcast house as we're trying to make a makeshift studio here. We're trying to get our personnel, our essential personnel, inside right now, of course, after the earthquake that struck earlier this morning, just a little after 7 o'clock. Many of you, of course, felt that at home, a 5.7 in Magna. Many of us feeling that, going outside. Many professionals, though, saying that instead, if this happens, of course, you need to get under something sturdy and hang on until the shaking stops. We felt the aftershocks. In fact, I'm just going to step out of the way here as people, let me get out of the way here, people outside of the building here at KSL Broadcast House. And just a few moments ago, we did feel an aftershock. Don't know what the intensity of that was just quite yet. I mean, what kind of information are you getting?
You know, we've been just following the trending issue on social media, and if our photographer can, I want to zoom in on this video. We'll take it full screen. It's the Salt Lake City International Airport. We talked earlier about how ultimately flooding was seen immediately after the earthquake, shortly after 7 o'clock this morning. It's absolutely trending on Twitter, obviously, but you can just see, I mean, this video's pretty incredible.
I cannot hear anything from our producers, so I'm going to have them talk to me while we're sitting here. What were you saying?
Governor's saying to avoid downtown.
Okay. Governor Gary Herbert right now asking everyone to avoid downtown Salt Lake City. So once again, Governor Herbert asking everyone to avoid downtown. That just coming in right now. So Grant, as we're talking about this, you were trying to put some context into, you know, this earthquake versus some of the ones that have struck in California.
Right. And I'm only using that because I've got, I can remember my first quakes living through those in Southern California in the 80s and 90s, and very scary for the first time to feel that. No doubt if it was your first big jolt that you felt, a lot of people are very concerned and scared. To put it in perspective, now that we've got a little breathing room now, just to put it in perspective, Lori, again, some of the larger quakes that I come to mind more recently, a big one in the Bay Area, Northern California, 1989. Freeways were toppled, if you remember that. That was a 6.9 magnitude. And then Northridge in Southern California in the 90s, more freeway damage in the San Fernando Valley of California. That one also in the high sixes. This earthquake, 5.7. Not to put it lightly by any means, but if we can be thankful for something at this point, it's that we weren't at that 6 or 7 level, Lori. Obviously, the higher you go on the Richter scale, the more structural damage you could see. Keeping it at this level, hopefully we're not going to see any major damage because of that.
We're all just scrambling all over the place. Kudos to our teams getting us on the air. I know it. So the latest I'm getting is there is some damage reported from inside Taylorsville High School. They're stressing minor damage, but we're getting those kind of reports from all over the place right now. Also, I want people to know, as far as our signals, in some places we understand they are going in and out. So I've been getting texts from people also saying the sound goes out and in and out. So just bear with us, as if you stay with us, we're working on it right now.
We just spoke earlier about the situation at the Salt Lake City International Airport. We do want to confirm right now that the airport is not currently operational. FAA tower has been evacuated. Terminals and concourses are being evacuated as we speak.
Okay,
so we also saw some information coming out of the Provo airport that because of the Salt Lake City International Airport closure, that maybe there could be more traffic there down in Provo.
Okay. Welcome in. This is a breaking news update with Dan Spindle. I am Lori Pritchard. Of course, we have had an earthquake just after 7 o'clock this morning, 5.7 magnitude, as we understand. The epicenter in Magna, and the aftershocks so far have kept coming.
The biggest earthquake here along the Wasatch Front in almost 20 years, 1992, the last time we felt something like this. We know you felt it at home. We have been working with all of our team here to get broadcasting to make sure you get the very latest information. Signs of minor damage around the Salt Lake Valley. Some damage estimates going on right now. As we know, officials with the state of Utah are working on bridge inspections immediately. As you know, you look around with the brick and mortar construction, there are bricks in the streets in some places. So we're working right now to tell the story from all angles of this earthquake. If you can avoid using your phone, maybe shoot a Skype if you've got internet access. If you can do emails, check with your family that way. But try not to use the phone lines right now.
Let's get an idea of what's happening here from the Utah Department of Transportation. John Gleason is joining us by phone. John, thanks so much for taking the time. Give us a status. What's happening right now in terms of the roads? Has there been any damage?
Well, thanks so much for having me on. At least initially here, the reports that we're getting from our maintenance crews and our inspectors out there are that the roads and bridges are in good shape. Now, we're out there physically inspecting all of these bridges and making sure that we're addressing anything that comes up with a significant earthquake like we saw. You know, we've seen some of the video that's coming out of Salt Lake and Harriman, and so we want to be sure that we're addressing anything that comes up. But at least initially here, we're not hearing any reports. We're not seeing any reports of damage to our roads or bridges.
Cheryl, what do we got going on? I know you're breaking down a lot of this information for us, too.
Looking at a lot of different avenues right now. So Rocky Mountain Power reporting 73,000 people or customers without power. That could include traffic lights and the things that we're seeing in the downtown Salt Lake City area. A lot of that, of course, is focused right here in the Salt Lake Valley, out towards the west of West Valley, Magna, Kearns as well. A few small spot outages up north in the Roy area, in the Ogden area as well. So that's the very latest from Rocky Mountain Power. Obviously, no estimated time of restoration at this point because this is a fluid situation where they're assessing, they're understanding what it looks like in terms of dispatching their crews out into the area. One thing we want to talk about is we're hearing from a lot of different agencies right now as we check in. The Centerville police reporting no damage to public utilities or roadways, schools. They've been out checking as well. We know that Unified Fire was doing the same thing. They were out, they were assessing, being available for folks who might need help. We did receive one report of damage. We want to take you to Chopper 5 right now. Angel Moroni, the Salt Lake City temple in downtown Salt Lake City, lost its trumpet in this earthquake. We can see here from Chopper 5, the top of the temple. Obviously, this is a major area of downtown that is under renovation right now. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints closing the temple because of wanting to do earthquake prep and renovation, making sure that that building is secure. And so it'll be interesting to find out if it did sustain any other damage during this process.
Just got this video of Silvercrest Elementary School in Harriman. Okay. You see that? It's missing those bricks right there. Just imagine. I mean, this was a day where a lot of folks were going to pick up laptops, Chromebooks, distance learning packets, and those came down from the facade of Silvercrest there in Harriman. We don't know if the structural damage is substantial, but on the surface there, look at that. I mean, they're blocking it off with the cones. Way to go, guys. But look around your neighborhood. Look for those places, and it gives you an idea of why it's so important to hunker down in one spot. Right. You duck, cover, and then hold on. You do not run outside of a building in the immediate aftermath of an earthquake because those things can come down.
I'm here right now with Keith Coper, who is the executive director of the University of Utah Seismograph Stations. And I guess first and foremost, tell us what happened this morning.
Yeah, so a little bit after 7 this morning, there was a magnitude 5.7 earthquake, and it happened near Magna, so sort of in West Valley. It's a moderate-sized earthquake, but for us in Utah, it's actually a big earthquake. So we get an earthquake this size about once every 10 years or so. And this one is a little bit more impactful because it happened near sort of the urban corridor where people live. There's going to be damage. You know, we're still assessing the damage from this earthquake. So it is a major earthquake in terms of the Utah region.
Right now we're showing our viewers some video of chopper aerials of people who are outside their buildings. So does it make sense for people to stay outside of their buildings at this point in time? What would be prudent action for everybody in our communities, especially downtown?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's unlikely that buildings are going to fail and actually collapse. So if you're in a building and you feel shaking, what you should do is sort of drop, cover, and hold. So get underneath a table. And then when the shaking stops, then you should exit the building. In terms of re-entering the building, that's a trickier question. And you know, if there's obvious damage and you see cracks and so forth in the building, then you should not re-enter the building. Okay, if it looks like it was structurally damaged.
We're looking at damage right now at one of the buildings here in the downtown area, Dan.
Yeah, this is 4th West, 5th South. Just to give you an idea, you saw the rescue mission kind of in that area as well. Folks with blankets, so they deployed to that area. But a lot of that facade, those bricks came crashing down to the sidewalk and presumably in the street right there as they blocked off the street in front. You see what they're doing? Watch this. They are purposefully knocking those parts off that are unstable now at the top of that building. And that is the concern all along the Wasatch Front, the brick and mortar facades that could cause some damage that could really hurt people. So this is why you do not run out of your house and run out of your building when an earthquake happens. You drop cover and hold on.
And you were seeing the left side of your screen, as we saw earlier there, Chopper 5 vantage point. There were people standing outside. They had blankets around their shoulders. Quite a crowd had gathered as you look at the damage there, 400 West, 500 South. It's pretty incredible to see the impact of this earthquake.
Yeah, we just got the latest update on power outages, too. As of right now, Rocky Mountain Power saying 74,000 without power. That's the latest number right now. So we know a lot of you are dealing with this as we speak, perhaps watching on your phone.
He hasn't experienced anything like this. This is a partial building collapse on the side of the building. There's a building next door that has also partially collapsed. It's not as severe of a visual collapse that we can see, but the stucco on the side of the building has an obvious crack in it too. And when I rolled up on scene, firefighters were telling me that they were fearful of another aftershock, that building might go. I guess structurally it might be even in worse shape than the building that has the more visual collapse.
Guys, we have Carol Makita on the phone right now. Carol, tell us what you know.
Good morning. I live in Sandy, and so the update here was that, of course, we felt the initial earthquake and no aftershocks. So spending time checking with family and neighbors, but also heard about the Salt Lake Temple and the idea that they're assessing damage right now because it is undergoing construction and an upgrade, a seismic upgrade. So you saw what happened with the Angel Moroni.
Feeling that, you're seeing some of the pictures. That one from Dave Noriega, he showing us what it looked like inside his house.
That's Dave of Dave and Jajanovich, right?
Yes,
right there.
His chandelier there shaking. Our lights above us certainly shaking as well as we were standing in the KSL studio.
I mean, that's just so visual, right, to the swaying back and forth, but we were seeing a lot of photos of people who had some damage in their houses. Look at this. This is what you do. That is perfect right there. Thank you so much, Dave, for sharing that. You duck, you cover, and you hold on.
But I do want to just give you, a layout of the land here. We are in Midvale on the Main Street here, so I want to show you some of the main damage here. I want to point out Colosimo's, well-known family company here. They sell a lot of sausages and whatnot, but they have quite a bit of damage to the side of their building, obviously. Mr. Colosimo, one of the family members, has been here. He's gone through the building with, I believe, an inspector. You can see a lot of the rubble just down below. If Derek, can you show them some of the rubble from the bricks that fell from the side of the wall from that building? It's pretty bad. This is at 9000 West and Magna Main Street.
We have Nancy Vollmer from the airport on the phone with us right now. We want to ask her a few questions about what is unfolding there. Nancy, appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Looking at some video here of a lot of water outside of the airport and even kind of running into the airport. What can you tell us?
So the earthquake did cause a water break in Concourse D, so that's what you're seeing there. But the larger issue is that the earthquake has caused us to evacuate a number of facilities, including the FAA tower, the concourses, the terminals, and we're currently trying to find locations for those people who are in the midst of traveling through Salt Lake City, places that they can shelter tonight.
Nancy, where are all those folks right now when you say you've evacuated those areas? Where are you putting those folks?
So we have a facility on the east side of the airport that we are taking them to via shuttle buses. And some passengers, of course, had local family and friends that could pick them up. But for those who didn't, we've taken them over to that facility, and then we're determining, how they can have shelter for this evening.
Giving us the latest information, Dan, tell us where you are and what you're hearing there.
Yeah, we're at 7200 West and 2100 South right now outside the Western Estates Trailer Park. You can see just behind me over here, we're kind of using our phone here as a mobile device. That's why we might be able to not have real good reception, but they've completely shut down this mobile home park here in West Valley City, 7200 West and about 2100 South or so. This is where apparently they have some broken power lines and also some gas lines that have been broken. I'm going to bring in Stephanie here. She's one of many residents that live here. Share with us a little bit about what you felt, how scary it was, what happened this morning.
Yeah, so when I woke up this morning, I was just confused at first. And I told my sister to get down just in case the roof came down. And so afterwards, me and my family, we were so scared. We started getting all our stuffs, and we smelled gas too. And so we were just in panic. We got out. We didn't know what to do. And me and my mom, we were crying. My dad tried to keep calm, and my sister, she was also scared, but I guess she's tougher than me. And
so things fell off of out of the house. What kind of damage did you get in your home then?
Some glass just fell. It seemed like the floor was a little tilted. It felt like as I was walking out of my room, I felt kind of sliding down. It's just tilted.
I'm going to bring in a picture here real quick of kind of their outside here. I don't know if you could see this very well or not, but you could see their deck here is completely damaged. It kind of sunken in there. This is the kind of damage that apparently they're seeing inside of the mobile home. The very big concern, of course, are gas lines that have busted and also some power lines, and that's what the worry is. What are you feeling right now? Kind of what are you going through? I mean, it was scary, right? I mean, tell me about kind of the emotions you felt. What did you feel?
Yeah, I was just scared. I wanted to cry so bad, but I'm just here helping with my parents interpret everything with the police officers. And right now, I'm just calm and can't believe I'm on live right now.
This seems to be the biggest damage area out here in Magna and West Valley City. I'm going to bring in, is it Philip? Talk a little bit louder because we're kind of going through a phone here. What did you feel? I guess you were on your way to work, though, right?
I was on my way to work, and when I felt it, I thought maybe something with my axles going out. I mean, I felt rocking. And then when I got to work, my wife called me and freaking out. We have 3 kids at home, and she was inside, and was letting me know what's going on. I got to work, and they were all evacuating. So I told them, hey, I got to go home. I got home, and I felt aftershocks on the way home. The inside of it is just trashed. I looked around the house. I didn't see any foundation damage or any cracks in the walls, but all around us, all the other ones got hit pretty hard.
Let's go to Garner Mejia now live just outside the Utah State Capitol. Garner, what's going on?
Yeah, good morning, guys. We're out here just outside the Capitol where the State Emergency Operations Center is headquartered. Now, we know that there's a lot going on behind closed doors. I'm going to invite him to step in over here. This is Jonah Whiteside's Bureau Chief for the Center.
Division of Emergency Management.
Thank you. Jonah, what do we know so far? What is it that people need to be aware of?
Yeah, right now we know that we had a 5.7 earthquake, epicenter out by Magna. We have had a few aftershocks. I know the University of Utah, which we actually get their data from the University of Utah seismograph stations to basically verify that information, as well as through the Utah Geological Survey, which is part of the Department of Natural Resources. So we do know that that's the data we have at this point. Right now, what we do from an emergency operations standpoint is now we start to collect data on damages.
We're going to kind of walk back here a little bit. It might be a little difficult to see here, but look at the entryway into the home here. You can kind of see it completely slanted and taken off. Joe's up here. We're going to talk to Joe. He's a homeowner. Joe, you weren't home at the time.
No.
Who was home at the time then?
So Noel and my kids were all here.
And your reaction to what happened here? What did you feel? What did you see?
So I was driving, and it just felt like I got shook by the wind a little bit. And then I got a text saying, "You okay?" And I didn't know what she was talking about. So she called me, and she was saying that the house was shaking really bad, that things were flying off the walls. There's cracks in the walls. She couldn't get the door open when the whole foundation shifted.
Is this Noel here?
No. This is
okay. All right. I wasn't sure. Okay.
She's hiding.
She's hiding. Okay. Let's go inside, if you don't mind. He's going to take us inside here to kind of show us a little bit about what happened. Where's some of the damage here?
So the big one right here, the doors.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even close anymore. Like you could.
Okay, so if we try to close the door here, you could see that's as far as it'll go right here because it's completely off of the foundation. if we kind of come over this way here, you had stuff falling off the shelves and things?
Yeah, all of our books, all the bookshelves all fell.
So this is what fell in here. Let's kind of take a look about where all this stuff back here kind of fell. You see other cracks around?
So we got cracks up here on the ceiling,
There's
on the walls.
Cracks, and you can see them, the cracks up on the ceiling there.
Cracks over here.
There.
Here.
Right over here? Okay. Is this Noelle here?
Yes, I'm
Can you come over here real quick? I apologize. I know it's early in the morning, and of course, tell me what it was like. Where were you at, and kind of what you felt?
Well, I had just put 2 kids in here to watch TV, went in my bedroom to log in for work, because I'm working from home now, and then right as the door shut, 2 kids out here screaming. The 2 on the 2 top bunk beds in the bedroom start screaming because they can't get down. So I'm trying to run out here, no power, dogs in the way. We all kind of just sat on the couch and everything fell.
What were you going through? What were you feeling? What were you experiencing?
Oh, it was terrifying. Kind of went mom mode, threw my work laptop on the floor. It was... got the kids there.
Never felt like this?
Oh, no. This is a first for all of us. It was scary, but we're good. They're at my mom's now, and they're good with my sisters. We're all set.
Sheriff, this is Silvercrest Elementary School in Harriman, part of the Jordan School District here, and the last bit of the damage is being cleaned up right now. Crews have been here for the past hour and a half trying to clean up what happened. Let me show you where those stones and those bricks came from. Just above the Silvercrest Elementary sign, you can see this facade, this kind of stone brick overlay right there. A small piece of that in the top left corner fell down this morning when that earthquake hit, landed onto the ground there right in front of the front doors. And in the past hour, crews went up there and kind of dug out the rest of those bricks just to make it a little bit safer because they thought it could have been structurally unstable. So even though this looks bad, that big pile of rocks there and what you saw on the facade above being pretty much wiped out, that's mainly human cause ripping out the rest of what they saw. But there were some bricks and some rocks that fell down in the earthquake. I posted some of those to our KSL Facebook page and on my Twitter account as well. You can see what the original damage looked like. Inside the school, I just spoke with the principal. She says everything inside the school is just fine. You wouldn't know that anything happened in there whatsoever. And everybody else that I spoke with is saying that they are really happy that classes were canceled today when all these bricks did come down.
Let's talk to Sharon now about all this information you're gathering. Again, we're getting it from all sides. What do we know now?
Oh, we got a list of things here to tell you about, but we want to address what's been happening in terms of these rumors. A lot of people on social media feeding into the rumors that we're expecting a 9.0 earthquake to hit in the next 2 hours. That has not... This is a rumor, you guys. This is somebody feeding those fears. I want to read to you a tweet here from Utah Emergency Management, hashtag rumors stop, or rumors stop. There are rumors that the earthquake can be predicted. They cannot be predicted. However, we expect that the earthquake we felt today was the largest one of the sequence. That is true in 95% of earthquakes. So again, they're saying stop the rumors. I'm seeing a lot of different emergency management type officials saying stop this. Don't feed into this. We're not expecting a 9.0 in the next 2 hours. Obviously, earthquakes are not predictable there, but they do not believe that that is the case. So we just want to quickly address that real fast.
At 7:09 a.m. local time, there was a 5.7 magnitude earthquake with the epicenter in Magna, Utah. We've received 26 aftershocks, the last being at 9:25 a.m. None of the aftershocks exceeded the initial 5.7 magnitude. As of this time, there are no reported fatalities, and emergency crews are out county-wide. We also know that Tooele County is actively responding. We are aware of gas leaks and minor structural damage.
The bottom line that they wanted to let us know is, first of all, they have no reported fatalities. And then beyond that, they wanted to let us know that they want people to stay at home, especially as they have unified police and the Sheriff's Department responding to areas out near the epicenter. They're talking about Magna and Kearns and West Valley. They're saying they can't do their jobs when they've got a lot of people outside. So if you're not needing help, they want you to go ahead and head indoors. I think that could be one of the biggest helps to those crews. They also spoke about a fire at a warehouse, and we are trying to gather more information about that. But they did let us know that they believe whatever is burning in there, that the plume of smoke is heading upward and then away from populated areas. But definitely, I do want to gather more information on that. Another detail that we learned through this press conference is that the Salt Lake County Metro Jail, they say, sustained very minimal damage, but they did need to put the jail on complete lockdown because of that damage, and they're working to fix that. We tried to ask a little bit more, was it structural? What was that? But they just described it as very minimal damage. But they're also saying because of that lockdown, they're not going to be doing any sort of prisoner transports today. They're just keeping that jail very much locked down, and again, some very minimal damage.
These are people that kind of the same as what we've already seen. I talked to some of the folks here. They say that they're planning on being here, earthquake or otherwise. One guy said once that earthquake popped up, he said he was doubly made sure he was going to get here. Of course, as you know, a lot of the experts have told us, as far as the COVID-19 situation, there's been no reason to sort of stock up. Even if you're in quarantine, you'll be able to have people get you supplies. But a lot of people are doing it anyway, just in case. And as you know, if we have more quakes here, they're going to be sort of the aftershock type things. And most likely won't be a bigger one. But a lot of these people want to be ready just in case, guys.
Matt, walk us through the information you just received.
Yeah, operations here at the Salt Lake City Airport are shut down right now. The FAA tower, the control tower, is no longer functioning. They, of course, evacuated that area as well as terminals, concourses as well. And they're asking people not to come to the airport unless you have someone to pick up here at the airport, because of course there were a lot of passengers here, and we were learning though that there were actually quite a few passengers that also had to be evacuated, but they were actually a lot less in the airport than normal just because of the concerns surrounding coronavirus. We know we've seen a lot less air travel happening right now because of that, and so they said they had quite a difference in the amount of travelers that they normally had. One passenger we spoke to who was being shuttled to a hotel because of the cancellation of their flight said that it was really a blessing that they had so many fewer passengers here at the airport when this all happened. But when it happened, we're told that people were it was just pandemonium from what some passengers were telling us. People just screaming, yelling. A couple of passengers we talked to were actually on the plane when it happened, sitting on the runway, getting ready to take off when this all happened. But the airport right now, as you can see, you're actually taking a look at a lot of workers that are on their way out. We heard that the construction workers that were working on the new portion of the airport, they were sent home. That was kind of in the area where the water main break happened, and they were saying that was the main damage that they were looking at. Right now, they don't really have a clear timetable on when this place will be back up and running. They are telling us they think it will be hours instead of days. And so that's kind of what they're looking at right now. And so they say they'll keep you updated, of course, on their social media platforms. We'll keep you updated here on KSL TV.
Let's get out to Dan Rascone now, talking to some of the folks who witnessed it firsthand. Dan?
Can I kind of introduce and then bring you in?
Yeah, just a destruction unbelievable here at this mobile home park as far as some of the damage in this location. Take a look at this kitchen just behind me here. We're at about 7200 West and 2100 South, Western Estates Mobile Home Park here. And this is what the mother came home to. She's a single mother of 3 kids, but just things all across the floor there. I'm going to bring in Liliana. You were on your way to work, or were you at work at the time then?
I was at work at the time, and they let us all go home, and I picked up my 3 kids, and then I come home, and then I find all this mess here. So tell me what your reaction was when you came walking in your home and saw this. You also have destruction on the outside, but what did you think as you saw this? Well, it's kind of sad just because, I mean, it's 3 kids that I'm trying to take care of and trying to get food for all 3 of them, and I come home and half of my food's all destroyed and all my supplies is all gone. As you can see, all my glass is all over the place. Like this is like everyday use is just basically all gone now. So. Can you kind of take us in the kitchen again? Yeah. When you came in, what's broken? So I have all my pantry from there. It's all just basically all shattered here, all glass, picture frames. There's glass. All my fridge. As you can see, it's all open. I had just made jello for my kids, soup for my kids, all my glass uses, it's all broken. I was starting to buy full of stuff to have as supplies, like all my canned pasta, like sauce, it's like all over here. My sugar, it all broke. If you see here, it's kind of still like all coming down. I have glass all over on this part. My blender, all that broke. I have a couple more stuff back here. Just kind of.
You got to be careful there a little bit, but you had stuff just fall everywhere.
Just fall everywhere.
We do have another new piece of video that just came in we want to show you. We've got some new home surveillance video coming out of the Rose Park area, so let's take a look at that. This is coming from Joe Sloan. Here we go. The moment when that earthquake hit, the 5.7 magnitude earthquake, again coming out of Rose Park area.
My whole house shook. So I banged on my daughter's door and said, "Earthquake, get up out of bed." I never felt anything like it before. It was scary. You think you're prepared for these kind of things, but I don't even know what I'm supposed to do.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our special coverage on KSL. Much of northern Utah still in a state of shock this afternoon after a 5.7 earthquake woke us up this morning with a series of aftershocks throughout the day.
So many families are already huddled in their homes due to the coronavirus. And right now, a number of people are picking up the debris left behind and are bracing for more. Though we're relieved to report tonight there are no known injuries. One of the hardest hit areas was Magna. That's where experts at the U have identified as the earthquake's epicenter.
Mike Hedrick's anchoring our team coverage live from Magna. And Mike, a frightening day for a lot of folks.
Yeah, Dave, Deanie, let's be honest here. Anytime the earth moves from underneath your feet, it is gut-wrenching. It is tough to kind of fathom something like that, right? We don't experience something like this very often. I experienced it 3 times today. This morning inside the grocery store. I got another one in the second story of my home, and then another time behind the wheel of the car. So anytime you experience it in this different ways, I think most of Utahns did, at least on the northern part of the state here. So it's been a tough day and nerve-wracking, I think, for a lot of people. We do have a team of news specialists out there today. They've been working hard since early this morning, covering pretty much every angle that you could on a story like this, talking to a lot of people, getting the facts. There's a lot of fact and fiction out there, and so we've kind of honed in and found out the actual factual things that are going on, what we need to know about earthquakes, and what really happened out there today. Now, as you mentioned, I'm in downtown Magna, right on Main Street. It's not big. You think of Main Street, Salt Lake, there's a lot of stuff going on. This one is a lot more quiet, but today it was very busy and it was loud, at least for a moment. As you see all of these bricks here, this is from the facades of some of these buildings right here. Calissimo's, this is a grocery store, a meat store, popular in the area. You can see what is done to the side of the building. Some of these other stores as well. The facades have completely dropped. In fact, we talked to a store owner. He owns a pizza shop. And the brick in a lot of this area, I mean, you're talking buildings that are more than a century old. And so for him and his business, it's been tough because not only from what happened yesterday, owning a restaurant and what that does to your business concerning the coronavirus, but now you got this on top of it. He's having a tough time wrapping his head around the whole thing.
I just want to know that my stuff inside is, we don't know any damage at all. We closed yesterday, and it was very emotional. Yeah, we work. This is just a family-run business. It's just me, my wife, and my kids, and it's our livelihood.
And again, when you think of not just him, but other business owners, you know, for a lot of us who may not have been affected like this as far as our business, it's more of a disturbance, right? It was unnerving. But when you talk to some of the people here on Main Street and how it's affected their business and their families, it's turned their world upside down. And you see some of the damage from the video that we've shown. Again, you talk about the age of some of these buildings. I think that definitely played a factor in why you see so much of this brick on the ground and some of these facades that have fallen. Not just businesses, though. A lot of homes were affected, especially in Magna here. The quake knocking some mobile homes right off of their foundations when this quake hit earlier today. Dan Rascone has been following that aspect of the story. He talked to a number of people today. Dan, what did you find out?
Yeah, Mike, a very sad sight of destruction out here in this mobile home park. We're about 7,200 west and 2,100 south. Give you an idea, this is the kind of destruction we're seeing out here. Look at this front porch here, completely destroyed. off of its foundation there. Also, you could see the bottom of the mobile home here completely destroyed. And so this home right here, like many others, are unsafe to be able to, for the residents to get inside. And that's why they've been tagged with this pink sign here saying unsafe, do not enter or occupy. And that's what we're seeing all across this area.
It was fear and panic. It was shaking so bad, everything's just shifting. And
it was so loud, and I was screaming. My husband was holding me.
Terrifying moments for dozens of residents at this West Valley mobile home park as suddenly the ground starts shaking and their entire home feels like it's coming down.
Chaos, it just felt like chaos, just shaking and lights flickering and stuff falling, and it was loud.
When the dust settled, the tragic scene emerged. One trailer home after the other severely damaged.
This crack, in here there's quite a few.
Inside the Molina home, cracks and destruction could be seen everywhere.
Just fortunate everybody was okay. The kids got off their bunk beds fine.
But the shaking was not over. The aftershocks kept coming. As we are interviewing Shauna, a pretty intense one hits.
A beam came up from underneath into the floor. Okay.
Are you rolling? Are you rolling?
Yep. We're okay. We're okay, guys. I'm okay. I'm okay.
You're all right?
Yeah. We're okay, guys.
Okay. This was all my food that I had.
For Liliana Morales, a very emotional time.
Fridge was popped open. All my food, some of my groceries just fell.
This is what she came home to find in her kitchen.
Half of my food just destroyed and everything just a mess everywhere.
She's a single mother of 3 kids whose husband was just deported in Mexico.
It's hard. It's really hard. I work 2 jobs to be able to provide for my kids. And then when I have a little extra money, I try to buy food for them so that they can have here. So it's not easy.
Liliana's story there kind of gives you the emotional toll that's been taken here. A lot of people here have been kind of saving up with their coronavirus, some of their food storage, and suddenly it's destroyed in that particular situation. But there is help. Red Cross out handing out these signs right here. We just saw this one go up. Earthquake Red Cross Center has been set up. The location, Taylorsville High School, right along Redwood Road. So dozens of people pretty much left homeless in this mobile home park. A lot of cars out, a lot of people, and you just constantly feel those aftershocks. And that's what's really scary. When we were inside that home there and we felt that home already was unstable, and so we were very shaken up a little bit when we started to feel it. And you could see that the woman there, that's what she experienced earlier this morning, but even more so of a magnitude. So a lot of fear out here, but people trying to figure out what to do next. Mike, back to you.
And Dan, can I ask you real quickly, I mean, would you say it seems like it was unnerving because, you know, we had the one this morning, we had another aftershock, and there have been 20-plus aftershocks throughout the day, but I'd say probably 3 major ones that we felt. You said you were inside that home. What was that like? I guess the feeling, because nerves are already on edge at that point.
Yeah. Bottom line here is this was about a 4.7 as far as what we understand. So this is one of the bigger ones there, and we are already in an unstable home as it was. And so when that started to shake, it lasted for a little while. So yes, very unnerving. And then to think that we're already kind of in a home that may come down as it is, that's what was very scary. So yes, some tense moments. We felt a little bit of that being in that home, but you can only imagine what a 5.7 felt like.
Yeah. All right. Dan, thank you very much. I know it's tough to talk to some of those people, and there's a lot of emotions, as you saw in his story as well. A lot of the neighbors here, a lot of people who own these businesses, especially in the area of Magna. Now, speaking of businesses, Kennecott is another big one that's out here on the west side, and one of the things that they had to deal with was cleaning up after a chemical spill. 8 different agencies, in fact, had to come on scene and take care of business there. News specialist Mike Anderson live at the staging area for us tonight. Mike, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Mike, well, you know, crews at Kennecott will have to keep an eye on this one for some time. A spokesperson there tells me there was a hydrochloric acid spill that happened as a result of the quake. And, you know, just over here, right in front of Saltaire, is where they've had, at least this morning, they had dozens of fire engines staged, ready to go. A lot of them have been called off for now. There's also a crew with the National Guard, all of them ready to help the folks out at Kennecott at a moment's notice. Roadblocks were set up this morning as well, heading into the Kennecott mine, or the Kennecott refinery in this case. People were being kept pretty far back, even though firefighters say there was never a danger to the public there. We're told the spill happened inside a large warehouse. All employees at the refinery have been evacuated. The vast majority of those first responders ended up being sent away. The large part of this spill being handled by Kennecott's team. Unified firefighters say they train alongside them often for both hazmat and heavy rescue to be ready for situations just like this.
We've provided some air monitoring, some other equipment. We've spoken directly with them throughout the process, helped them determine what the best course of action is.
Luckily, no one was injured in this spill or in the response. And at one time, we're told there were about 50 firefighters, 50 personnel from Kennecott already here to go at a moment's notice. And Kennecott will reopen the refinery at some point. The challenge right now, Mike, is that every time there's an aftershock, they have to go in again, recheck that leak, make sure that there's no more acid coming out. Back to you.
Yeah, that can be quite the scare. Mike Anderson live for us tonight. Mike, thank you. Salt Lake International Airport today also receiving a scare as they had to shut down operations for several hours today. Things seem to be back up and running, at least improving a little bit more than what they were earlier today. Matt Rascone is covering that aspect of the story today. And Matt, I was speaking to someone out here who actually works at the airport. He was saying he was there when this earthquake hit, and he saw some of these big Boeings just kind of waving back and forth their wings, and he said it was quite a sight and quite frightening as well.
Oh, yeah, scary for a lot of people, and there were thousands inside. For a while, this place was evacuated, nearly empty, though, after that earthquake, after thousands of people got caught up in it.
It was pandemonium. It was chaos.
Moments before takeoff,
People just started like screaming and running.
the turbulence had already begun at the Salt Lake International Airport.
And then all of a sudden security came in. They're like, you got to leave now.
Thousands of passengers waiting, boarding, or already seated were suddenly sent packing.
All the schools went online, so we're heading home, and hopefully one day we'll get there.
At first I thought the building was going to collapse, but that's probably just me being dramatic.
Next door, crews feared the worst as debris began falling inside the new airport under construction.
I thought I was going to die. Honestly, it was the scariest thing I've ever been through in my whole life.
The new facilities are designed to withstand a major seismic event.
Officials say the buildings are safe. The worst of the damage appears to be a water line that burst in Concourse D.
These buildings are old. They have not seen a lot of investment because we're building a brand new airport.
Amid the initial chaos, the impact of the coronavirus on airports and travel may have actually worked in their favor.
Because of the coronavirus, there weren't a lot of people, which is probably a blessing.
On a typical day, they might have more than 20,000 people showing up, another 30,000 connecting, and today, an estimated 9,000 passengers were inside at the time.
Evacuating the terminal buildings was easier under those circumstances.
We all got through of it, and we're here now, and everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be fine.
And we're just now starting to see more people arrive here at the airport. The first few flights have taken off from the airport, and those that were diverted earlier today, we're told, are heading back here. But airport officials stress you want to check with your airline because there have been some cancellations and, of course, plenty of delays. Guys?
Yeah, you can't be too careful when it comes to air travel, and it looks like they crossed all the T's and dotted the I's to make sure they got things safe and running. Matt, thank you very much. Speaking of air travel, let's go up to Chopper 5. Ladd Egan is live in Chopper 5 for us this evening across the Salt Lake Valley. In fact, you're above Salt Lake City right now. Ladd, you had a chance to survey some of the damage. What kind of things have you seen?
I saw that the trumpet
on Angel Moroni's statue fell off, and there is some minor damage as well. We know that there was some displacement of some of the temple's smaller spire stones. And as you're looking live over the temple, you can see the trumpet that the statue was once holding, the trumpet there wedged on the ledge above that spire where the statue sits. We do know that the temple is undergoing a seismic upgrade, and that workers have been working on the temple, and we all are learning that no workers were injured. Crews were on that job site, and they were sent home for the day so that a full assessment could be underway to see what else needs to be done. So the temple undergoing a seismic upgrade right now, and then survives this earthquake. And so we are waiting to hear from the church what might be done to secure some of those stones on the top, which they say have been displaced, and then also what might be done to repair the statue. But the church telling us that this really emphasizes why this project is so important to have the temple receive those seismic upgrades, similar to what we know that the Utah State Capitol received when it underwent its renovations, where they put in the foundation those buffers to help the structure withstand an earthquake. That's the latest here from Chopper 5. Mike, I'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Lad. And yeah, you mentioned those seismic upgrades, and that's something other buildings throughout Salt Lake City and the Valley have been doing as of recent over the years, specifically because of that, as we see situations like this today. So you never know. A lot of people preparing as they build buildings and try and fix some of these buildings. Again, we're live here along Main Street in Magna, where some of these buildings have not had those seismic upgrades. They're more than 100 years old, and that's why you've seen some of the facades fall and some of the extent of the damage that we have seen. Dave, right now, I'm going to send it back to you and Deanie. No, I've got an interview right now. Okay. We're fluid here, as you would imagine. Why don't you come on in here? This is the Mayor Pro Tem, and Ms. Hall, first name, I apologize. Trish Hall. Trish, thanks so much. I talked to you a couple of hours ago, and that when things were really fluid at that point. You were walking up and down Main Street. You had some of the emergency personnel with you at that time. What kind of things did you see? What was your concern?
Just the businesses. You know, we worry about how much damage had been done and if they're going to be able to get back in or not. We worry about people, obviously, number one. We knew that they had all been evacuated quickly so that there wasn't any damage. We actually, animal control came out and got some animals out of some apartments, and that was great. So, yeah, it's just getting back to normal. We appreciate Main Street. It's used for a lot of movies and TV shows, and we would really like to see it maintain that feel. So we're hoping we can get that repaired and get those facades, but this time done right so that they don't come down again.
Yeah. Bottom line, there were no injuries here, and that was key.
That's a miracle. Yeah, there were no injuries at all, so just some damage, structural damage.
And you were saying, too, as you were mentioning, this is used for different movies. I think the Disney Channel has one of their movies that, or television shows that they tape here.
Yeah.
But going up and down here, even though some of these buildings look like they're actual businesses, not all of them are operating businesses. Is that right?
Yeah. One of the worst damage is the record shop, but that's I think a Disney fake front. So it's not a real business that
no records were damaged.
Yes,
in the
no
production
records
of this?
were damaged. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You signed the disaster declaration,
yes.
correct?
Yes.
What does that do?
It helps us get funds, federal funds, if we need them, and we probably will for some of these businesses to get fixed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trish, thank you so much. We
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you taking the time. I know it's been a busy day for you, but bottom line, no injuries, and clean up some damage here. You guys will get back to normal.
Yep.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. And with that, Dave and Deanie, I believe we will send it back to you at this point. We'll be back here throughout the evening and continually showing you different things that have happened here in Magna. Again, this is the epicenter. This is where things really hit hard, and we'll continue and follow it throughout the night. Back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you.
Oh, crap. Dramatic video as that 5.7 earthquake knocked out a power transformer in North Salt Lake.
A KSL viewer captured the moment as he was driving on Center Street in North Salt Lake, just west of Redwood Road. And check out this view captured from a home on the Bountiful Bench.
You can see transformer after transformer exploding. Power was knocked out to a lot of folks for a good part of the day, including right here at KSL. Our power was restored about an hour ago, and we salute the power crews out there trying to fix all of that. Now let's bring you downtown. A number of buildings here in Salt Lake damaged earlier today.
News specialist Garna Mejia has been speaking with restaurant owners and officials about the damage and brings us a walkthrough of downtown.
Yeah, good afternoon. As we're seeing here tonight, the majority of the damages are affecting older buildings. Inspectors are still making their way through downtown, assessing those damages, asking the public tonight to avoid this area, not just because of the aftershocks, but because of falling debris like what you see here.
Rio Grande building.
This video shows the damage inside the historic Rio Grande Depot near the heart of downtown following this morning's earthquake.
In the main display area, we had multiple failures of the upper facade. We have a lot of plaster, a lot of cracks in the plaster.
Luckily, no one was injured. Officials say damages are primarily cosmetic, and the building is closed as authorities continue monitoring the aftershocks.
After that 4.6 came through around 1:15, we came back and we noticed that there was significantly more plaster in the mezzanine areas.
They're working to restore power in the basement where state archives are stored in temperature-controlled rooms.
And we've actually got about 7 generators that we're operating right now to make sure that those freezers stay functioning and that those archives are protected.
Officials say the building is not reinforced for an earthquake, although the legislature approved a seismic analysis during the last session.
This is going to be a good trial run for if we have a larger event and how we're going to respond. So I'm very happy actually that we had a small one like this, because I do think we've gotten complacent.
Damage is also evident in other buildings and restaurants in the downtown area. Most evident on the rooftops of older buildings where bricks spilled onto the sidewalks. Although at the Casina Toscana, shattered glass inside the restaurant, and outside the area is taped off after the bricks tumbled down with a portion of the patio railing. Areas are taped off as crews work to clear the debris. Now, as we mentioned, no major injuries have been reported here in the downtown area at this time. We did reach out to the rescue mission of Salt Lake. They had to evacuate their building earlier today. They had some damages and were out of electricity. They're asking anyone, if you're sitting at home watching this and you have extra toilet paper or paper towels, they could really use them and you can drop them off. In Salt Lake, Garda Mejia, KSL 5 News.
All right, Garna, thank you. Let's get back out live to Magna, the epicenter of all of this, and rejoin Mike.
Yeah, Dave, as you know, shaking was felt all across northern Utah, including up to the southern portions of Idaho. The good news, as we have mentioned, no serious injuries or deaths involved in this, but as we've shown you as well, a lot of damage, especially to some of these buildings around the epicenter. And not just in Magna, even a little further down south in Salt Lake County, the Harriman area. Now, a lot of people have said, hey, we're fortunate we actually haven't had kids in school this past week because of what has happened today. Covering that aspect of the story for us is Alex Cabrero. And Alex, I understand that at least at one of the schools here, there was some damage done, and the scare would be that some of the debris could have fallen on these kids.
Mike, everybody here is saying that it is an absolute good thing that classes were canceled. Somebody was walking underneath that Silvercrest Elementary sign there when the ground started shaking. Bricks could have come down and we might have had our only serious injury from this earthquake, maybe even worse. Now the damage is cleaned up for now. The bricks fell from the top of that overhang. Again, everyone here saying it's a good thing classes were not going on at the time.
That's really crazy.
Even after hearing what happened, Hillary Arviseth still had to see it for herself.
It's crazy. I can't believe the damage that was done here. I'm glad they weren't all heading into school this morning.
Silvercrest Elementary in Harriman, where her son normally goes to school, had damage from this morning's earthquake. Pieces of brick came off the overhang when the building started shaking.
We only had one person who was in the building at the time, and that's our custodian. And he was just opening things up, and then after the earthquake, he started walking around to check for damage.
Silvercrest principal Ann Pacetto says the inside of the school is fine. It's the outside that has damage. And since that overhang where the bricks fell is more for looks than structural integrity, work crews spent the morning removing the remaining bricks just to be on the safe side.
Nothing structural or any safety situations.
Crews also looked at Black Ridge Elementary in Harriman since that school has a similar design, but no bricks fell there. One positive note for both schools is they were closed because of coronavirus, meaning no students or teachers were here. But there was a lesson for Arviseth's children that you never know, so it's always good to be prepared.
They're a little freaked out, but good. They keep asking me when we're going to feel more. I'm like, I don't know. That's the thing with earthquakes. There's no way to know.
Okay, that was Alex Cabrillo reporting for us this evening. Alex, thank you very much. Again, as he mentioned there, it's great the kids weren't in school today. A blessing in disguise, as a lot of parents are thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do for the next few weeks or months to help out these kids while they're home in school? But the fact they weren't in there could have prevented something serious from happening. We're not finished here. One of the big things is aftershocks. There have been 50 plus of those since the original quake happened earlier this morning. Jed Bohl is covering that aspect of the story. He's going to have more on these aftershocks and to prepare for more that are coming up just in a few minutes. Until then, though, Dave and Deanie, back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you. Well, the Angel Moroni without his trumpet is one of the visuals of the day that Chopper 5 showed us just a short time ago. Already that project, a major construction project, with now a lot more to do to clean that up right here in downtown Salt Lake City.
News specialist Carol Makita has been out surveying the damage there at Temple Square. Carol, what can you tell us?
The Salt Lake Temple is under construction for a seismic upgrade. Church leaders say today is one more reason why it's necessary to preserve this historic structure. This is the most iconic symbol of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This morning, it shook, and the trumpet fell from the Angel Moroni statue. Images have gone viral. It sustained minor damage to some of the smaller spire stones. And we have experienced many aftershocks in the downtown area today. Here's what happened to the temple late this morning. More shaking, as you can see from Chopper 5, the angel and the building swaying. All church headquarters buildings have been closed to evaluate their safety. The Catholic Diocese of Salt Lake reports that the beautiful Cathedral of the Madeleine in downtown Salt Lake did not experience any damage. Neither did Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church in Magna. They will continue to assess. From the Episcopal Diocese of Utah, Dean Tyler Doherty of the Cathedral Church of St. Mark on First South reports that there was some minor interior damage to the west transept of the nave. Plaster fell, and some of the pipes of the organ shifted and caused some damage. They are checking for structural damage, but all appears to be fine. And Pastor Steve at First Presbyterian Church, also on South Temple, reports that there is not structural damage to the church, but some of the decorative exterior pieces have fallen. All faith leaders say they are very grateful that no one was injured and that the damage can be repaired.